Aileana Kameron is a debutante living in the city in 1844. A year before the book takes place, she had just lost her mother, who was murdered by a faery. So she decides to stake her revenge on the faery that killed her mother, and is entirely driven by vengeance. She ends up becoming quite attracted to the faery that vowed to train her to kill fairies. Kieran McKay is, he's a faery that is quite secretive, very mysterious. He and Aileana Kameron decide to join forces and kill fairies together. They hunt together practically every night. He trains her. And she finds herself becoming increasingly attracted to him, despite the fact that he's not often entirely honest with her. Aileana's best friend is a guy named Gavin. He's actually the brother of her best friend, Catherine. He's somebody that she always imagined herself to marry one day. And he comes back after an absence of 2 years in the novel, and he turns out to be somebody quite different than she always expected. He's very mysterious. I think Aileana and Catherine's relationship is quite special. They've been best friends for practically their entire lives. Catherine lives the life that Aileana once wanted for herself. She goes to balls, she goes on chaperoned walks with gentlemen, and most importantly, she forms relationships without pretense. Every relationship that Aileana forms is under the guise of this individual that she once was and isn't any longer. So a relationship with Catherine is something that grounds her in her humanity. It's a quiet relationship, it's a calming relationship, and it's the one last human relationship that she practically has. Let's just say that the Falconer has had many, many different drafts. Originally, I focused on other paranormal creatures other than fairies. I had fairies as the primary antagonists always, but I had originally intended to bring in other creatures, and Derek was once a ghost who haunted Aileana's house. Obviously, he's not a ghost, he's a pixie. I decided to keep him in Aileana's house just because he's such a charming character, because his presence is an actual friendship within the fairy realm that she's managed to form, and the only one in the fairy realm that's something that's calming to her. And so Derek became a pixie, and Derek still haunts the house, but this time as a fairy presence and one that's become Aileana's best friend. The main antagonist of the story is a fairy called Circa. She is a bit of a spoiler, so I can't share too much information about her. But she is the one that killed Aileana's mother. Aileana's been tracking her for the past year, and Circa has actually been traveling all over Scotland, leaving behind a very large pile of bodies in her wake, each of which Aileana pins on a board and a map of Scotland with a crimson ribbon tied around it. Thank you so much for joining me on the Falconer Tour of Edinburgh. I've really enjoyed sharing the city with you, and I can't wait for you to read the Falconer.